Rheingau, a small town nestled amidst rolling vineyards, was known for its tranquility, a place where life went by the rhythm of the seasons, where time seemed to stand still, until now. An oppressive silence had settled over the town, replacing the joyful bustle of everyday life. It began gradually, a missing face at the marketplace, an unanswered knock on a neighbor's door. Then, like wildfire, rumors of missing persons swept through the cobbled streets. Each disappearance was preceded by the person's fervent declaration of having been washed in the blood of Jesus. A sense of foreboding spread over Rheingau, heavy and oppressive like the sultry air before a thunderstorm. You know, the kind of air that makes you wonder if the weather is just trying to set the mood for a horror movie, and just in time for Halloween too. The phrase, "washed in the blood of Jesus," echoed through the streets of Rheingau, carrying different meanings for different people. For some, it was a religious metaphor, a symbol of redemption and cleansing. For others, it was an ominous premonition, a whisper of something dark and unknown. As more and more inhabitants disappeared, the phrase took on a sinister connotation, becoming synonymous with disappearance and horror. It seemed that the most devout, those who clung to their faith with unwavering zeal, were being targeted. These people often spoke in hushed, reverent tones on the eve of their disappearance of being cleansed and reborn. It was as if they knew something the others didn't, a secret hidden within the fabric of their faith. And you know what they say about secrets. They make terrible jokes. Why did the Scarecrow become a successful preacher? Because he was outstanding in his field. But as Halloween approached, the town's laughter turned to nervous whispers, and the Scarecrow's joke felt more like a chilling omen. Mr. Schmidt, the old clockmaker, was one of the first to disappear. A pious man, Mr. Schmidt was an integral part of the church community, his deep baritone leading the congregation in singing hymns every Sunday. Then, one crisp autumn morning, just days before Halloween, he was gone. His shop, usually teeming with the rhythmic ticking and tocking of clocks, stood eerily silent. The townspeople, initially dismissive, began to worry. Mr. Schmidt, they knew, would never leave without winding his beloved grandfather clock, a ritual he performed every evening with religious devotion. He used to joke, "Well, you old ticker, if you stop, I'll stop too." But this time, it wasn't a joke. The hands of the clock stood still, pointing accusingly at the hour of his disappearance. The townspeople searched high and low, their calls echoing through the vineyards, but Mr. Schmidt had vanished, as if swallowed by the earth. His disappearance cast a shadow over Rheingau, a shadow that deepened with each passing day. And as the townspeople would say, if only Mr. Schmidt could clock back in. But this time, the joke felt more like a chilling omen. Mrs. Müller, a kind-hearted woman known for her delicious apple strudel, was the next to disappear. Her disappearance, however, brought a chilling revelation. The day before her disappearance, Mrs. Müller had visited Pastor Michael, the village priest, a strange gleam in her eyes. "Father," she had whispered, her voice trembling, "I have been washed clean. The blood of Jesus has set me free." Pastor Michael, though unsettled by her cryptic words, tried to rationalize her statement, attributing it to stress or fatigue. He advised her to rest and assured her that everything would be all right. But everything was not all right. The next morning, Mrs. Müller was gone, her house empty, her breakfast table set for one. Her unfinished apple strudel sat in the oven, a testament to her sudden and inexplicable disappearance. As Halloween approached, the village whispered of shadows and secrets, but in Mrs. Müller's case, it seems the early strudel got left behind. With each disappearance, fear tightened its grip on Rheingau. The once peaceful town was now shrouded in an atmosphere of suspicion and dread. Neighbors who once readily helped each other now eyed each other with distrust, their conversations laced with anxiety and apprehension. Some whispered of a vengeful spirit claiming the souls of the devout. Others spoke of a secret cult operating within the town, sacrificing its members to appease a dark entity. The lack of any explanation only fueled the fear, turning neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend. In an attempt to lighten the mood, one resident joked, "Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts." The joke fell flat, only adding to the tension. As Halloween approached, the disappearances became even more unsettling, casting a dark shadow over the festive preparations. The butcher, a burly man with a booming laugh, was a fixture in the Rheingau community. His shop, always filled with the aroma of smoked meats and freshly baked bread, was a hub of life. Then one day, the cleaver fell silent. It was as if the laughter had been butchered. The butcher, known for his robust health and jovial nature, had become withdrawn in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. To a select few close friends, he had spoken of vivid dreams, dreams of a blinding light and a voice calling his name. Then, like all the others, he vanished without a trace, just days before Halloween, leaving an eerie silence in his wake. Lisa, a young woman known for her inquisitive nature, refused to be swept away by the tide of fear. The missing person cases didn't scare her. Instead, they ignited a spark of curiosity within her. She spent hours in the town library poring over ancient texts, searching for clues, for any mention of similar events in the annals of history. She listened intently to the whispered rumors, meticulously documenting each disappearance, each strange occurrence. She noticed a pattern, a chilling sequence that linked the vanished souls. They were all deeply religious, their faith unshakable, their conviction absolute, and they all spoke of being washed in the blood of Jesus before they disappeared. Lisa thought to herself, why did the Scarecrow become a successful detective? Because he was outstanding in his field. As Halloween approached, the air grew colder and the whispers more sinister. One evening, while visiting her grandmother, Lisa stumbled upon a crucial clue. Her grandmother, a devout woman who had lived her entire life in Rheingau, told her a local legend about the Garden of White Roses. According to legend, this mythical garden was a place of peace and tranquility, where the faithful would be rewarded with eternal bliss. Those who are washed in the blood of Jesus, her grandmother had whispered, find their way to the Garden of White Roses. Intrigued, Lisa decided to investigate. She followed a hunch, a trail of fresh white rose petals leading to the edge of the vineyards. Her heart pounded with both fear and excitement. She thought to herself, why did the rose cross the vineyard to get to the other vine? But as she ventured further, she couldn't shake the eerie feeling that someone or something was watching her. The trail of white roses led Lisa to an old, abandoned winery on the outskirts of town. It was rumored to be cursed, the townspeople avoiding it, whispering of strange lights and eerie sounds emanating from its depths. Undeterred, Lisa cautiously approached the building, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. She noticed a faint, ethereal glow emanating from a crack in the wooden cellar door. Her heart pounding, she slowly pushed the door open, the hinges groaning in protest. She descended the creaking wooden steps, her flashlight beam dancing across the damp stone walls. I guess you could say this place really has a glowing reputation, she muttered to herself, trying to lighten the mood. But the eerie silence reminded her of the stories of people vanishing near Halloween, never to be seen again. Holding her breath, Lisa pushed open the trapdoor and peered inside. The sight that greeted her was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It was a vast underground chamber bathed in a warm golden light. In the center of the chamber stood a magnificent white rosebush, its blossoms radiating an otherworldly glow. And gathered around the rosebush were the missing townspeople. Mr. Schmidt, Mrs. Müller, the butcher, all of them bathed in the warm glow of the roses. They stood motionless, eyes closed, their faces serene and blissful. They seemed to radiate a sense of peace, as if they had found something they had been searching for their entire lives. Lisa watched in astonishment as a single white rose detached itself from the bush and floated towards it. She couldn't help but chuckle, thinking, well, I guess this rose really knows how to make an entrance. But the eerie silence reminded her of the townspeople's mysterious disappearance just before Halloween. Lisa stared at the rose, its beauty both alluring and unsettling. She thought of the missing townspeople, their faces etched with a serenity she had never witnessed before. Had they found paradise in this subterranean garden, or had they stumbled upon something far more sinister? Lisa felt a pull, a gentle but insistent tug, urging her to join the others. She glanced back at the world above, at the fear and suspicion that had poisoned her beloved town. Here in the warm embrace of the white rose there was only peace, only bliss. But at what cost? Lisa made her choice. Why did the skeleton go to the party alone? Because he had no body to go with him.